Hello,
time's
guys.
the charm.
Welcome to episode 23 of The Weekly.
Oh, you really are going to do the whole show with that voice. Okay, right on.
I'm trying to, of course.
Yeah, hangover voice sounds pretty good, man.
Who said I had a hangover? I just woke up this way this morning, and I am drinking my water. Thank you very much, Mr. How you doing, man?
Oh, I dig that mug. I should have broken out my Carnage mug.
Oh, that would
Dang
be
it.
nice.
That'd have been good. I'm doing well. I'm doing real well. I stayed up way too late doing work stuff. You stayed up way too late doing fun stuff. I'm jealous.
Yeah, yes. Sam and I went for a couple of drinks, met some people from college. Not that we knew them from college, but we all went to the same college, just randomly met on the street.
We're probably all in college at the same time.
Yeah, that was the funny thing.
I was 03 and I was 04.
Yeah, no need to state the years we graduated, Sam. That's not necessary for YouTube.
How
about you fix your video?
We are old men.
I was in college a number of years ago. That's all people really need to know.
Yeah, just fix your video, buddy. Fix the video so we can see you.
Yeah, can you please launch Sparko Cam to activate your webcam by going to sparkosoft.com, which is not a sponsor of this podcast.
It is crazy. I really need to figure out how to take that stuff down. I mean,
anyway,
I'd change that splash because it's pretty crazy.
Let us get to some topics. We've got a uselessness, I would say, and this stems from our good friends at OnePlus. So, OnePlus MKBHD put out a tweet saying, actually, I'll just read his tweet instead of me like paraphrasing. It'll be much easier. So it looks like somebody, I'm guessing OnePlus, has paid for my OnePlus 6 review and others to run as ads, inflating the view counts massively. So now as it sits, this is my most viewed video ever. Pretty smart on their part, I guess. Just wish they had told me ahead of time. Geesh. Yeah. And I mean, also I'll put it this way. I see no problem doing this promotion at all. I see the problem of them not telling the influencer so the influencer can basically tell people, hey, OnePlus is promoting these videos out. They are, but again, they didn't pay us for the video. They can just promote it because that's what YouTube allows. We are doing our reviews and that's pretty much it. Now, it's a very good tactical plan because it gets their good reviews out there to a lot of people. And
I have to believe that other companies have done this. I have to believe that when you see some reviews absolutely surge and other reviews from like the similar tier of YouTube producer, I have to believe that there's been some sneaky little back end stuff done from Apple or Samsung in the same way. This just seems like it was a little ham-fisted and way too obvious that they put as many ad dollars as they could.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. I think a lot of the other companies, we're guessing, we're smart about it and say, let's just give this a little boost. You know, let's put it out there, as opposed to, if I'm not mistaken, this video is now at 19 million compared
to OnePlus 6 video. I thought it was at like 30.
Oh, excuse me. See.
No, because I talked about this, you know, in sort of one of the things that trying to explain why I like certain types of coverage, and I might have to give MKBHD you know, sort of a mea culpa on this, because that was one of the things I pointed to. If you could have a OnePlus video at 30 million views and an LG video at 1 million views, which one would you put more effort towards the next time you go to review those phones? But this looks like it's probably a situation where that video count was co-opted by another company using it as advertising material.
It's 19.12 million.
Man, I could have sworn that one of his had hit 30 on something like that. But again, it's still like an tenfold, almost 20-fold more than some of his other videos.
Yeah, exactly. I think previous to that, his iPhone video was the highest at like if I'm not mistaken, was it around close to about maybe 10 million or so, something like that. And that was for the iPhone 10. So yeah, it's interesting to see how this plans. Sam, what about you? What are your thoughts on that?
Still trying to get the video set up. But in the meantime, though, I see a problem. I see a very big problem with this, especially for for Marquez, because we all are aware that I believe the FTC, or it used to be the FCC, who did this. But if you had ads on your channel, right? If you basically had an ad running and you didn't state that it was an ad, you could get fined for stuff like that. And we've seen it happen to people like the Kardashians on their Instagram channel. Now, this is a situation where this wasn't created as an ad, but it is an ad now because it's being used as an ad. So does he get dinged for stuff like that?
No, he won't.
Well, that's just it.
From the question, right?
Yeah, no, actually, I'm with Sam from a legalistic standpoint. Someone else can raise the claim. Someone else can raise the concern and spark an investigation into who is this YouTuber? Why does this video have 20 million views when his videos usually get 2? And that kind of disclosure, that kind of notification is a big deal. I'm not saying that, we need to, again, it's a slippery slope and you've got to worry about what the end game is. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but there is a good legal argument for someone to say, like, there could have been shenanigans going in the background. Did this co-opt his review? Was money exchanged? Let's look into it. And now suddenly Marquez, who's just doing his own hustle, not aware that OnePlus has done this in the background, now has to talk to someone about the video that he produced. So yeah, that I'm with Sam. I think this is a pretty big deal. That OnePlus didn't offer him disclosure, if that's exactly how all this went down.
I mean, I've spoken to a few other YouTubers who said the same thing. That they've noticed that their OnePlus numbers have gone up, like for their reviews. It's just, it's skyrocketed up there. I
wish they'd throw some of that magic sauce my way, man. My OnePlus 6 review did nada.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped mine a little late. I dropped mine late. I did too. I wasn't part of that initial surge.
Man. But my Key 2 review is crushing it.
Are you trying to send word to BlackBerry? Is that what it is? You're like,
no. What I'm saying is, organically, it seems like more people are interested in the BlackBerry than the Key 2. Who would have thought? I mean, the BlackBerry than the OnePlus 6.
Yeah. I mean,
when you've got 2 phone reviews on a channel like mine, and neither of them are being like paid to be advertised, twice as many people are interested in what BlackBerry has to offer than what OnePlus has. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think just from the analogy you just put in there, I think that's something else that someone like MKBHD is worried about now, because he is very, from looking at his channel, he's very clear about why he does reviews. A lot of his reviews are not even paid reviews. So when you start having a company like this kind of use your name and image to do something like this, does that erode the trust that your viewers have in you?
Yeah, and the other flip side of that I have the concern on is this type of gaming. If you have an expectation that if you put out a good review on a product, that company is going to throw money behind advertising your video, this kind of keeps reinforcing the SEO game that I've been talking about on my own podcast. There's a reason why, like, Samsung and Apple spend billions of dollars on advertising, and that pays off for them being the top 2 players. It's not a coincidence. It's not a meritocracy. It's these 2 companies have built good products and have marketed them way better than any of their competitors. So the flip side of that is you can build a channel just talking about Apple and Samsung. Your SEO is going to do really good. And if you start straying from that, then you have to know that the other products that you put out that people aren't organically searching for as often aren't going to perform as well. And it's this sort of reinforcing cycle of, well, if more people were talking about this product, it would be doing well. But because more people aren't talking about it, I'm not going to put as much time or effort into reviewing it either. And these types of shenanigans just help to further erode the goodwill of the community at large. Like, if you want a Canadian to do a review of a Xiaomi, why would they? Well, it's not going to do as well. That video's, from its inception, that video is going to underperform from someone else. And if I do a video about OnePlus where there's a rabid fan base that those videos tend to do better on their own anyway, maybe OnePlus will also use my video as an ad, and then I'm going to get a ton of huge numbers, and that's going to help my channel out significantly. So that this kind of thing, again, this is another bad play by OnePlus. They've done so well recently. They've been growing up so much, but this is also another one of those things where they're not a fully mature company yet. They're not quite there yet. They've been doing so much better than the early days of Smash Your Phone OnePlus. But this is another thing that I kind of point to, like, you're gaming something that didn't really need to be gamed. You already had an entrenched fan base. You already had MKBHD doing a video on your product. This was too obvious, done too poorly, too ham-fisted, and it brings up all kinds of ethical considerations, not just in a legalistic sense, but also in just sort of a moralistic sense as to why we should be producing content on YouTube.
I think OnePlus missed the mark by they should have just copied Samsung. They should have done what Samsung does every year, and you license the clips and you make it as an ad, because then that is everybody just knows. Oh yeah, okay, we've got good reviews and hear what people are saying. That's just what those videos are.
Or you don't pick one solitary target. There were so many.
No, they did this for a bunch of people.
Numbers are high on a bunch of channels.
Yes,
okay.
A lot of people who the numbers are much higher.
It just seemed
it's just that it looks like they spent the most on his.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is because I wasn't even aware that other people had been talking about inflated OnePlus video numbers.
So let's put it this way: other people have had numbers where you could almost think it's viral. It's like it's jumped from 100,000 to maybe 500. You're like, man, OnePlus. It's not like it's not like you're thinking something is off, but you're like, okay, shit. I was at 100, but I guess it probably got picked up by somewhere or posted somewhere, or was a throw on Reddit or whatever the case may be. So you're getting those moves where you're either getting close to a million or something like that, as opposed to this one where it was his last video was lower. His videos, I think his unboxing was around 2 or 3 million. So you're thinking, okay, it should be around that for the review, and then it goes from that to 19.
Right on.
Yeah. So that's where you go like, okay, somebody's spending money on this, as opposed to maybe it went to 7 million. Then you can say, okay, that's a nice jump. That should be sensible.
And I know some people have asked, but I would seriously doubt that Marquez had any kind of different agreement. I mean, you guys get a review unit. Is there ever like a really in-depth multi-page contract attached to it, or is it like you get an email from a PR contact saying, "Hey, you want to check out this phone?" And you go, "Sure, what do you need?" And they say, "Send me your shipping details." And then you go, "Okay, I live here." And then a couple days later, you get a phone in the mail. Like I've never. Someone else was asking, like, well, if Marquez is getting review units, then he's probably signing away his rights to.
No,
like, that's not how any of this works.
To quickly explain to you, whenever that happens, if you're doing any kind of sponsor content for a brand, then you get a contract, and then it's a couple of legalese there. Sometimes they'll tell you, we own all the rights. Not sometimes, they always try to put that in. We own all the rights to your likeness, and we'll use it. And usually that's why I go, sorry, no, you have to pay licensing fees for those, so you can control how your image is actually used. That's if you're doing sponsor content. But whenever you're doing reviews, it's what Juan said. Basically, I want a review in it, address, mail, do a review, and you can say whatever you want. You hate it, you like it. Prime example is go check out Danny Wingett's video on not hands-on, but his influencer talk on the BlackBerry Key 2. They invited Flossie Carter. He's like, Flossie, what do you think about the Key 2? At the event, he goes, first one was trash. This one better not be trash because it'd be paperweight. That's just what he said. And if you go back to his review, he said the first one was trash. He didn't like it. Now, a lot of people like that phone, but he just didn't like it.
But that's what I love is, like, again, I keep pointing to this current era of YouTube and how all of our channels have taken hits. The one dude who definitely deserves more consistent viewership, to not have his channel messed with by YouTube with notifications to his subscribers, is a dude like Flossie. Again, I can't point to anyone outside of our current circle of tech commentators on this podcast, of course. I can't point to anyone, I think, who has been as internally consistent and sort of as intellectually honest with his opinion as Flossie.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that just makes me happy to hear. Like, he straight up said to BlackBerry's face, like, I hated your first phone. Thank you for inviting me to this event. I'm gonna go hit the bar.
So that's what you have there. Just to give you guys some explanation in exactly how these things work. And normally, so for instance, give an example like how Samsung had those ads, and they always have it either before the launch of a new device or after. So for instance, the Note 9 coming up, they will probably have an ad showcasing all the favorable reviews of the Galaxy S9. How that's done is, simply put, they reach out to influencers and they say, hey, we would like to use your content as a review. And then there's a licensing conversation that's used there. And Samsung basically says, this is what people are talking about. And they're running it as an ad. It's a very simple, clear process, as opposed to this, where, if they ran those numbers of mine, at first I'll probably be like, damn, man, people are watching my review. Snap. I'm gonna get subscribers. And then you're like, and then you go to YouTube analytics and see all those are coming from YouTube advertising. You're going, oh, somebody pay for this. Oh, okay.
Well, and then also, it doesn't help because every video I'm accused of being a shill and a hater of the exact same product.
Please. Yeah, I have to mention one of that quickly. So some guy, I on my other channel, Board Gamer, I did a review, battle vid between this headset, the Arctis Pro versus the Sennheiser GSP 600, and they said I was paid by SteelSeries because this headset won. And I'm going, and then they're arguing that, look, Sennheiser remix. I'm like, the headset is really good. The mic is good. This one is better. Plus, the other one has an ESS Saber DAC built in. And so...
yeah, so you were obviously paid off to say that you liked the better product in your testing.
Yeah, and then somebody had the audacity to say it was not fair because I didn't add an extra DAC from Sennheiser as an equal comparison, which would make the price more than the SteelSeries. I was like, the Sennheiser is $249, the SteelSeries is $249. I'm comparing based on the price point, not on the extra.
So I got a private message from someone who hasn't seen my BlackBerry camera review, but just saw my main BlackBerry review because they're not on my Patreon, and they won't be subscribing to my Patreon. They had to make sure to tell me that too. But that I was being, I forget exactly how they phrased it. It was something along the lines of, you're being way too kind to this phone. You're obviously lying about your experiences using it, because everyone else has said that this camera is garbage, and I trust everyone else. And just because you've posted some clips in this 4K video that you've produced, everyone knows that if you just post, photos and videos in a 4K video, that they're going to look pretty good. So you're not being honest about what these photos really look like if you were to look up close on like a really nice monitor. And like, again, just the complete lack of self-awareness. If you post a photo from the phone in any other medium that compresses that photo, well, obviously it's gonna look good. Well, that's like the whole point. That's Instagram. That's Facebook. Like, no. You've just told me that the camera isn't that bad. If you think this looks good,
you said it on a really nice monitor. I should pass him over to my photographer friend who would tell you that all those cameras suck as far as he's concerned.
Well, it is, again, that's what we have to be honest about, is the difference between a BlackBerry Key 2 and I don't know, like a Galaxy S9 is way closer than the difference between a Galaxy S9 and a Sony A series, right? So if we can just be, if we can just cross that intellectual hurdle, if we can just cross that honesty barrier right there, then I think we would reduce some of this ire where it's like people take it as an affront. Not that I've said something bad about the phone that they use, but that I've said something good about a phone they don't use. That has become the big pain in my ass over the last couple of years producing on YouTube. It's like, if I haven't trashed a phone that you didn't buy, then that is already equaling me criticizing the phone you did buy. Weird fandom.
It's a standard thing. I mean, I had one occasion of maybe a year or two ago where somebody said MKBG said this headset was good. I was like, I don't like it. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm like, it's decent, but for me, it doesn't come to the level that I would pay for at that price. So people always do that. But anyway, let's move on to some Galaxy Note news, which I'm sure Sam is all happy about. Yeah. So this image leaked of the Galaxy Note. It's not that, I mean, there's nothing surprising other than there's a yellow S Pen. I actually kind of like that. I mean, I'm just saying personally, I like that duality of color right there. It's cool. It's a little playful. I mean, which is interesting for something on the productivity side of things. Don't you?
Yeah. What do you think, Sam?
I don't really like it.
We're
trying
to give you the most positive setup we could.
Sam's like, I'm gonna go for the black one.
I don't necessarily like the whole idea that now you have this, kind of colorized, happy S Pen thing going on, a yellow S Pen with a blue screen, like with a blue notes. It's cool. I'm like, oh, if that's the selling point, then that's not much of a selling point. But
I don't think it's a selling point. I just think.
I'm saying if the whole point is to say, oh, we can now mix and match pens, that would be pretty cool. That they'll be selling the pens like kind of like more of an accessory and bringing that more to the forefront. That would be really interesting.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because you can't really buy an S Pen separately, right?
You can, but it's more of like a replacement, and it's just there. It's like a black one. End of story. But what phone do you have? You have a black one? All right. Or you have a white one? Okay. Well, it matches the color of the phone. Now, if you're saying, oh, we're now going to be selling blue ones and red ones and whatever, it kind of, okay, now you can see, all right, people want to customize it. That's pretty cool. But as a feature, like, oh, everyone's going to come with a color with a displaced color a scheme where you have the black one coming with a white with the black tip, or you have this. I'm like, no, just don't make that.
I mean, look, that is the designer. Look, that's Samsung owns Steve Ives doing his thing or her thing, and saying we're going to accessorize the colors. What I'm happy to see that the headphone jack will always remain. Thank God.
Nice. Yeah. Scanner there.
Yeah,
what a great little promo leak.
I know, right?
To show off for that, yeah.
It's still water resistant, and it's the new super powerful Note. Maybe that it includes the fact that it might have a 4,000 milliamp battery. So hey, we'll wait and see. But I figured Sam might like that, but it seems like he kind of likes it, I guess.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting year for Samsung, because I'm not negative on their trend of just refining products, of not, since the Galaxy S6, it's just been a little touch here, a little touch there, expand the screen size, shave some of the sides off here, weather the Note 7 exploding on people, come back with the Note 8 and kill it, because the Note 8 was a very, very good response to the previous problems they had. And I can appreciate the people who want to see Samsung do something more daring. I'm in that camp. I'd love to see Samsung do something just incredibly daring and brave. But from a business standpoint, this has been a great run of products from Samsung to showcase what it is that general consumers are apt to respond to. You don't want to rock the boat too much with your flagship products. You want to show that you are listening to the concerns of your audience and refining elements which might not be, might not be up to par, and then moving forward on that. So the Note 9 is going to be an interesting test of Samsung's strategy after we saw sales from the S9, which were still great, but not record-setting. It wasn't Galaxy S8 sales numbers. This is sort of a refining year again, so it's kind of like an S series iPhone. It looks kind of the same, so it's not going to sell as well, which I've never understood. If it's the better product, that's the one that should actually sell better. But it didn't look significantly different, so I'm not going to buy it. You're like, that's the bad place to be in.
Yeah, that definitely is. Speaking of refinements, Apple sent out a quiet refresh of MacBooks with some heavy specs and heavy prices, which I didn't even know about until, I think a couple of people posted, I just bought a new MacBook, now I'm broke, which is usually the case. But seeing some of the prices, let me just showcase this for you guys so you can take a look.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
You can do with the MacBook Pro. And I'm just going to share my screen. There we go. Share. Boom. All right. Bye. 15-inch. Let's go here to select. And and we can go with Core i9. We can go 32 gigs. We can go 4 terabytes. And I guess
you need Final Cut. If you're gonna make that machine, you need Final Cut.
I need Logic Pro X? No. So there you have it. $7,000.
Or you can just buy like a used Honda that's probably going to take you work and back for a few years.
Yeah, so the new MacBook Pro comes with a new Core i9 processor. Still has the Touch Bar, Touch ID, Radeon Pro 560X, 4 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. This is the thing with the MacBook Pro I don't like. I mean, I get it that for Apple and the way their software runs, you don't need better performance in terms of graphics card. But then, I mean, like, if I'm going to spend this money, I just want like some performance, man. Like, at least give me a Vega card, not an RX 560.
Well, that's just it. Is like I don't think there is any kind of mobile implementation.
There's no mobile Vega. Yeah, there is no mobile Vega. That's
and
the
because they
didn't do anything in NVIDIA. They're like, no.
Yeah, which struck me as kind of interesting. But they probably get crazy great preferred pricing. But that's also for a MacBook, that's a nice little graphics update over some of the previous models of MacBooks. So it's still an improvement for Mac fans. But when you start seeing that like $7,000 price tag, and you go and you compare that to the kind of mobile workstation you can build from like Dell or a gaming laptop, that again, it's probably not going to be quite as nicely built, but will have significantly, I mean, just as powerful internals in many regards. Yeah, it's still kind of an interesting holding pattern that we see in with the MacBook, and what I would hope is that we'd also see them addressing things like their keyboard issues.
Yeah, hopefully they do. I know a few people who've been affected by the keyboard, and they're still waiting for the replacements to come back. I didn't even know what was happening with the keyboard until a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, I'm having issues with my MacBook keyboard." I'm like, I first said, "Why did you buy a Mac?" But then I laughed, and then I was like, "Go to a Mac store." So that was my line of advice.
So helpful. You're just so helpful.
Yeah, this is me though. I'm like, why spend a lot of money and then it becomes trash? That's my problem with Apple lately, is that some of the build quality, especially for the pricing you're paying, does not compare to what they've done in the past. This is not compared to anybody else. It's just that from their own track record, they're messing up. And that to me is a problem, where if you're looking at something that's $7,000, like, are you going to have some of these issues down the line? And but yeah, just wondering, did anybody decide to pick up a new MacBook in the chat? Oh, you just said forget it. And Juan, did you decide to pick up a new MacBook?
I'm still trying to rebuild my desktop, man. No, my Razer, my 3K screen Razer Blade with a GTX a mobile 970 is doing fine. Like, I've been rendering video on that thing on the go. I used it for the week after Father's Day. I drove down to Orange County to visit my grandfather, some aunts and uncles, and brought a Windows mixed reality headset and had the whole family, 3 generations of people, playing Beat Saber off of that thing.
Nice.
Like, I'm doing fine. I don't need an upgrade right now. I need to keep that Razer running as long as I possibly can.
Okay. Sam, you're about to say something. Sorry.
I was talking about the eGPU on there. It's the Blackmagic eGPU.
Yeah. A lot of people have picked that up recently, and
like $700 for an eGPU.
Yeah, does it come with a pre-built graphics card in there?
Yeah, it's the Radeon Pro 580.
That's too expensive, man.
That's weird.
That is too expensive.
I mean, Apple has a premium, but damn.
Let's put it this way. I mean, I'm sure it works fine, but if you want to get an eGPU and buy yourself a Radeon 580, right now those prices have dropped because, of course, the crashing Bitcoin prices dropping down, and then get yourself the Razer Core X, which is $199, and throw in your graphics card which would be about $300, and then you only spend $500. And you can switch it out for anything else. You can, if you go to PC, you can get an NVIDIA and make it, like a GTX 1080 Ti or whatever you want. So no, Blackmagic, it's nice, but no.
You could do more and spend a lot less.
Oh yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's see. Anybody talk about no? So Blanca Girl said Surface Go. Yeah, let's talk about that. Was it this week or last week?
It was this
Well,
week.
it was super quiet.
Yeah, it was this week, right? Surface Go. Yeah. So Surface Go. Yeah. Thank you, Blanket Girl. What do you guys think? A lot of people were talking about how quiet it is. I know Warren brought this up and said he wished they bundled the price. Some people have said, look, if you think about it, by the time you spend, because I pre-ordered one, and they are kind of right, you can just get a $700 laptop.
Yeah.
for the configuration you want. So
well, it's the same problem that we've had with numerous tablets. I mean, look at when we got all this great buzz, Apple doing an iPad with pencil support for education. It's only going to be $400 plus $100 keyboard
plus
$100 pencil. You could buy a $200 Chromebook that could do the same thing. So Microsoft, if I'm going to tag Apple for that kind of accessory add-on business practice, and I have to tag Microsoft for the same. This starts to make less and less sense once you properly accessorize it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Microsoft missed an opportunity to bundle. You don't have to put the pen. You can buy it as an accessory, but bundling a basic Surface keyboard, not the Alcantara. Remember how the original keyboards that came with the Surface, or at least, were they bundled? No, they weren't bundled. They never bundled. But they were cheaper. You build something like that, and you basically bundle that in, and then you can hype up the Alcantara. Say they even make that a backlit. Just say it's a basic keyboard, simple, right? And then if you want a backlit keyboard, you can buy the Alcantara one, and you buy the pencil. But that brings it in as something you can immediately use from there. And I think you're right, especially also with the processor there. It's a Pentium 4775Y. Granted, it's the 7th generation, but performance-wise, you're looking at, like a lot of people have said, you can get an i5, at least the low-end i5, for a $700 laptop. So then it becomes this very strange, avenue. Which
I really don't. I shouldn't say I don't know who this is geared towards. I do know who this is geared towards. This is more for the Apple fans who, people who are thinking of switching over to the Apple tablets, to the iPads with the pen and what they want a keyboard. This would definitely be fitted towards those people. But I don't see why Microsoft didn't do better on the pricing side of things.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. The other side of it is also businesses, because this thing has RFID and other chipsets built in for, like having a tablet that can do all those taggings and, all those. I can't remember where exactly it's in there because I saw a video from them. So it's geared to that. And I get it, unless, of course, they're offering an educational discount for students and it's like, an extra $100 off or something like that. Then that would be cool.
But even then, we have to, because I think it'll be a more functional machine, running something that you can unlock for a full build of Windows. I think it will be it can do more stuff. But we also have to weigh that against the audience who might be considering an ultra cheap portable computing device. And this is another area where I don't think these companies have really found the magic bullet to beat Chromebooks for this style of low horsepower, plenty of flexibility, mostly probably going to be for writing or very low processor intensive tasks, something that's not going to kill the battery. And again, when you can get like $250 Acer with decent battery life, a good screen, keyboard, laptop form factor, it's pretty small. It's not going to be the most like pencil thin computing device, sleekest implementation of a computing device ever, but that $200, $300 price point makes a lot of sense for a more complete out of the box solution.
Yeah, I think you're right. Microsoft did two things here. To me, there are two things they could have done. One, you could have said it's $400, keyboard included. If you want to throw in a pen, I would just say bite the bullet and throw it as a whole package. Like you throw it a pen, you throw it in a keyboard. That would be enticing for a lot of people to say, okay, cool, this actually works. And they'll make it Windows 10s. I don't even know why they did that again, but whatever. Even though they said they are moving away from 10s, it's a 10s device.
The question still is the processor they have on there. How well can it perform on full-blown Windows?
No, it can handle. It can handle. A Pentium could handle the terrible What Windows were running with Pentiums. This is a 7th generation. It will handle. Windows 10 can handle on that. That's not the issue. It's just that people will start adding heavier applications. It's not what it can handle. It's just that people start,
one of those like Atom processors could run the UI fine.
Yeah. It's just that people will start throwing heavier things, games, and all that kind of stuff. It's just not built to run that kind of stuff. The other thing too is, fine, if you're not going to do that, why isn't this an always connected PC? You know, I mean, you've already opened that line. Why didn't you make it an always connected PC? And you know, they said an LTE version is coming. Even if it's not always connected with a Qualcomm chip, why not just at least adding LTE to it off the bat, so we know it has that in there? To me, it's almost like, you know, they always have these two minds, where to me, this should have been the launch of solidifying the always connected PCs with a Surface. Even though it's a quiet launch, you go, yeah, here is Surface Go. The name says Go, right? Which means everywhere, which should automatically have LTE, like just straight up the bat. So to me, that's where they even made the biggest mistake. From it, where if you're going to at least do that, you offer an LTE version for $400 and you offer the non-LTE version for $300, and then we call it a day.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the processor, just reading up on it, and I don't trust this processor, man. It doesn't even have the turbo boost feature.
It doesn't have to, though. But that's the thing. It's
yeah. Again, I would say, like, you know, who would think about in your circle of family and friends? I just want to go on a quick intellectual exercise here with you, Sam. In your circle of family and friends, there are people who will do really well with a Chromebook, right?
And that's the same processor.
So who in that circle of family and friends would do really well with the Chromebook, but would feel more comfortable moving to Windows? That's a niche of a niche, but that makes sense to me. I am not going to use something like this, probably. And in fact, what's hilarious is I've actually come back to sort of appreciating Android tablets again. Like, I'm still rocking my little Lenovo for having been doing more recording and video editing on my phones, that now it feels great when I move that over to a tablet or an Android powered laptop form factor. So even I would probably say, like, maybe a more powerful Chromebook isn't necessarily such a terrible idea if it can still run my Android apps.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Sam, you're looking at this point. Most of my family members like not expensive, but like higher powered laptops. What do? Watch movies and browse the web. That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's all they do. Remember, it's us. You got to think away from that. We're the ones who power use, but most of the general public does that. That is the main thing they do.
So my concern is not that this person's going to buy, or like someone is going to buy this and automatically think, oh, I can use this to do whatever I want, or I can use this as my my primary computing device. My problem is when that person starts doing more and more. Like, say you get this as something to use around the house, and then all of a sudden you decide you want to use it for class. You decide, oh, I could try to look up some work emails, and you start doing more with it. You're going to realize that you just spent, about $500+ dollars. That's what you've gotten everything for something that's really for one single use.
No, it can handle all those things you mentioned.
But I'm
looking up email,
the performance. I would say the dip in performance as you continue doing more with it. It's
right, but the dip in performance is only most
RAM based too.
When the dip in performance though is only noticeable when you juxtapose it immediately against a more powerful machine. It's the same thing. Like, everyone's perfectly happy with their phone until a more powerful phone comes out and they can use it.
That is very true.
That's true. Like,
once they see your
you
phone,
can't run the new version of Instagram, and then you're gonna just go back.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think in that mindset, it's not going to affect. What it is just, like I said, I think it's just the pricing that we all feel it's off. Whether Microsoft went to bundle.
You guys know I am not the guy from the original Surface days. I was the guy supporting Microsoft for building more expensive and premium build products. Windows doesn't always have to be a budget argument. The Surface line is getting too cluttered. And out of all of the Surface products, I'm way more apt to recommend a low-end Surface Pro, a low-end Surface laptop, you know, something like, if you're going to go Surface, save up some cash, start in at this tier, and I think you're going to have a happier overall experience. If you're really trying to enter Windows at the entry level, then I think that there are going to be better products to fulfill that need. And if you just need an entry-level computing device, right now, I think the smart money, even though I'm super not thrilled with where Google has been going with their software and strategies either, I think the smarter money is on a Chromebook.
Well, maybe this is also Microsoft's play to reshape that price point for Windows laptops, right? In the sense that they've not been any well-built $400 machines or less from its OEMs, which is what the Surface helped do, right? The original Surface was built, and the OEMs, other than say Lenovo, who had the Yoga beforehand, where started rebuilding. Dell, you know, changed their design style. Same thing with Asus and the rest of them. So maybe this is also the same play where Microsoft says, look, we build this, $400 is the top cap. You guys need to fill the rest below, and we'll see something better.
I mean, that argument makes sense, and it's also what we saw. I mean, that's what happened once we saw a whole bunch of Surface clones come out. Like, oh, we can make a Surface Pro also, and we can make it $50 cheaper. But I also think that the timing on this one is really strange because of exactly what you guys have been bringing up. Always connected PCs, Windows on ARM, because that's going to bring some cost savings when you don't have to figure out the physics behind a more powerful mobile x86 style chipset in something that can be sleeker, smaller, and have a smaller battery but get better battery life. So those component costs are also going to shift around like crazy too. This is an odd time to buy into the Surface lineup with that Pentium processor. To Sam's concerns, this is just strange timing when we've seen them also not stay consistent with their less expensive fares, going from Surface RTs to the Surface, the regular Surface, not the Surface Pro, and those products not really being as well supported, as well iterated upon. They walk away from that, come back a couple years later, walk away, come back. The Surface Pro line has been getting consistent attention, consistent support, consistent updates in a much better fashion. So again, I still think it's the smarter play to save up the couple $100 extra. That's no small feat. I'm not saying like, you know, just let them eat cake. I understand that would be a financial hardship for someone who was really shopping at $400. But I think you'd get, if you want that Surface label, I think you get the better experience, the more consistent experience, probably a better approach to support by stepping up that tier to the Surface Pro.
So one last question before we move away from this, and just quickly, do you think this is Microsoft? They sat down and they had to me, this feels also almost like a business decision of, we have Surface Foldable coming out. It's not going to sell well because that's just the way it is. It's going to be
first gen always sells terribly.
Yeah, but we also need to ensure that we have a Surface down the line. So let's take the Surface Mini, which we canceled, which was already built, which we know was already there, which is this device, tune it up to match today's standards, you know, whether it's internals and stuff like that, launch it out, and then we have the Surface Foldable as well. And then our, you know, at least the Surface numbers will be good all around, because all they're going to do for the regular Surface is just update the specs. You know, and that's pretty much it, because they have these other two things. Do you think that's probably what the business decision went into this? Which is why it doesn't seem as focused as we would like?
Well, no, I mean, like, the thing is, we're seeing progress on that idea, but this is the same execution that they've been doing since the beginning. You had the Surface and the Surface Pro. Started out as the Surface RT and the Surface Pro. Then we had the Surface 2 Pro and the Surface 2. And then we had the Surface 3 Pro, and the Surface 3 was an Atom processor. So the progress is, we have moved from a Surface 3, which I believe launched at $500 with an Atom processor, to a Surface Go, which is the Surface 4, but not the Surface 4 Pro.
Actually, it's the Surface Mini, which is canned.
Well, but it's not. I mean, it's not mini. It's just because
the Mini was this size, though. It was supposed to be 10 inches.
Right, but that's not mini. There was rumors about like an 8-inch Surface. Like, remember all of those little, those little Acer Windows tablets that came out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I think the mini was going to be. Because the Surface 3, I think, also had a smaller screen in a similarly sized body with bigger bezels. You know, like that. That's kind of what we're playing with here. The progress is we've gone from a core chipset to a lower power, a Pentium chipset, and the price is $100 less than the Surface 3, which had an Atom processor, which that's just, you know, if we're worried about horsepower, we're worried about performance. That's really scraping the bottom of computing for a full x86 operating system. So that's progress. They're making progress. I still think their timing on this is kind of terrible, and they haven't shown the same dedication to this line of products that they have for their Pro line of products. So again, it's just the safer play for your money is, you know, whatever Microsoft's strategy is. I agree with you. I think this is a smart strategy from Microsoft, but I don't think they're executing it very well, which has been one of our most consistent criticisms of Microsoft, is coming up with a good idea and then not fulfilling that idea to the best of their abilities.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Sony is touting the Xperia XZ2 Premium. I'm sorry, I didn't put a premium there in the commenting section. As a low light beast, touting the world's highest ISO sensitivities for video recording in a smartphone. They don't tell us exactly what those ISO numbers are, but they have a video clip which you guys can check out. It's there. It looks pretty nice. It looks like it was shot with, DSLR. I'm sure there's some editing and some color grading and some all of that stuff there. But what do you think? Do you think Sony will hit this claim of some really low ISOs? Because I have the Alpha 7 III, and it, that just does some really awesome low light. So I don't know. What do you think?
It looks good. I would say that.
For a smartphone. I mean, actually, just for a camera in general, forget smartphone. I have a feeling that this was shot with something else.
It just looks really, really good, especially when you have that scene. I don't know where this is, but with the blue lighting and the building, it's really clear. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. You can't see any. There's no like granularity to the image. It's actually very good.
Yeah, Juan, what do you think?
So I don't know what to think about a Sony camera. What I want to see Sony do is use their camera division to influence the software and the performance on their phones, and I don't think they're going to do that. So I think we're going to see the implementation of some cool features. Like maybe this is a pixel binning situation with large photo sites to really maximize light and reduce noise. Maybe it's a completely new sensor technology that we haven't seen before, and Sony's going to hold it for their own devices first before they sell it to other companies too. There's so many unknowns here that they could potentially be doing, but to me, it'll be kind of like the burst slow-mo. The burst slow-mo on a Sony phone is really well done, and they were the first to get that crazy super slow motion working right, but it's buried in a camera app that fights you for the normal stuff. That it's still the least familiar and the most aggravating in an automatic sense, where a Pixel is really like, it's photography on training wheels, but you feel empowered to take the photo you want. A Sony camera sort of tells you, no, this isn't what you want to do. Here's what you really want to do, when that's absolutely not what you wanted to do. And so if they can't fix that core photo experience, then individual nice features don't really make up the difference for them having world-class hardware. That's where I want to see Sony improve. It's great having these individual features or having hardware that can support some really awesome low light performance, or all these things are great, but it's still going to be behind an app which can be infuriating to use when you're trying to get something specific out of it.
Yeah. What's up, Warren? And Jason, thanks for letting me know my battery died.
Pat.
How's it going, Warren?
All right.
Yeah, we're talking about the Xperia XZ2 Premium and the really high ISO that Sony's stating. I don't know if you had a chance to check out the video, see what you think about it.
I mean, it looks impressive. Much like most of Sony's low light performance on things. It's just that will we see, like, the problem is that this is only on Xperia phones that are just not that popular in America or in many other countries outside, I think, Australia and the UK and probably some places in Japan. So it's like, cool, but are we ever going to see this? And even by the time we get to see this, will Samsung have already or LG have already trumped what this does, or get close enough that it doesn't matter?
I mean, from that though, no one has come close to what I saw without having some granularity. But then again, we don't know if it's actually
the Pixel. I guarantee you, the Pixel 3 will probably beat this thing.
Because we will have to wait and see.
Google will go back and have a server to algorithm it the hell out.
That's one thing they haven't done well is video. Photo, video.
Well, but this is where, though, like we're in this arms race, which is an exciting arms race to be in, is hardware over software. And right now, I think the best platform for showcasing both is still the P20 Pro. Going with a larger image sensor, but then also the software interpolation of a secondary image sensor to provide more fine detail. And then a lot of really smart MPU-based gyro stabilizing. So even though it has hardware image stabilization, most of the time I believe that phone is using video from a non-hardware stabilized source and then using that neural processing unit to pick up the slack. So to Warren's point, I think Google is gonna, again, with the Pixel 3, single normal camera sensor. You're not paying for anything fancy there. You're paying for a lot of really high grade software processing to make up for a better image.
All right, cool. Let's move on to YouTube terminating accounts for promoting Twitch streams. This is reported by Gadget. I'll just read just a little bit from here. It says, the fight between YouTube and Twitch just got a little uglier. Producers like Linus Tech Tips, Surin, and Astrots have complained that YouTube abruptly, though temporarily, terminated their accounts for using their videos to promote their Twitch streams, such as the LTT and the WAN show. It's not that these videos were violating any rules. The site has long forbidden videos that primarily drive people off YouTube. Rather, its YouTube is only now enforcing those rules for videos promoting Twitch streams. And it's also become unusually aggressive. Now, we know all these platforms, they want you to stay, but this is not something that you should penalize. I think you should penalize your creators that way. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. But it's YouTube. What do you guys think, Warren? How about you?
At first, when I read this, I don't want to give YouTube any. I'm not trying to excuse YouTube for anything, but I'm betting that some dumb algorithm they set did this and just started ripping things down because, you know, they're the king of automation. They don't actually want a human doing anything in terms of type of evaluation because they think an algorithm is smarter. So I'm pretty sure this is what it probably happened with that. However, the handling of it is interesting because they kind of came with it with, they said that they don't do it, but the algorithm said that they were doing it. It's I don't know. I'm just at the point I'm so tapped out of YouTube doing crazy things that it's just kind of like, all right, another stupid algorithm thing. Maybe they'll fix it, whatever, and just kind of move on from the whole thing. That's always been in terms of service of people leading off of sites. I'm actually somewhat trying to force it now. It's pretty interesting, but I think it boils down to them just trying to automate something, and something got effed up in the middle of that automation. And then that's just what happened, because they could probably track when people leave, obviously, out of YouTube. Because
they track
they can penalize your channel essentially for it in a way. In terms
of your channels do get penalized for that.
For it leading off the site. So they might have just seen that, and if there's too many of it or leading to one place, they might go, "Hey, you're violating terms of services." And the algorithm just goes, "Click. We gotta stop this, or eliminate you, or terminate you," because they might have seen 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it strikes their many videos it needs to see, and it just automatically does it without any thought process behind it. So that's kind of my thought with it. I don't want to get into the whole angry shake fist YouTube blah blah blah. It's like it's just
I'll do it. Angry shake fist. Damn it, YouTube.
It's just like we've heard the story 1,000 times, and it always boils down to the same
This
thing.
is 1,000.
It's just like, all right, they're using an algorithm. The algorithm doesn't have the ability to tell differences like humans can do and properly evaluate a situation, screw something up, and then they try to make up for it later. And the only reason they do is because whoever they messed with has got such a large enough of a following that they have to respond to it.
Yeah, speaking of that, Renato Laporte says, actually, Linus claimed that the video got flagged and the real person striked the channel, and they only got the rights to live stream back after promising not to put in those Twitch videos anymore.
They'll still do it.
But I mean, it's the thing is that's an ask that Google shouldn't be able to make of their community. Again, they did because it's probably in our terms of service and it's probably something we've agreed to just by having a Gmail account. But if we're talking ethically, it's not something that they should be able to ask of their creators, is to have some sort of platform exclusivity. But Twitch has also done really well with enforcing sort of, if you're a Twitch partner, then you don't co-stream on other platforms. And so now Google's looking at that and saying, well, hell, we've had this in our language. It's time to reinforce it. It's now this time where, unless you're late in the game.
Yeah, but nobody co-streams as it is now. They stream on Twitch and then send the replay to YouTube. They're just pissed because they're getting the replay. They're getting secondhand stuff.
I'm not going to bring up any of my recent podcasting behavior then, but
I mean, you can do it, but it's not necessarily the easiest way to go about trying to stream the two different platforms. And what I mean by is most people that are significant on those, like significant, not saying you're not significant one, but most of the people that are
trust me, YouTube definitely agrees with that sentiment that I'm insignificant.
But the people that typically lead in those sort of spaces, in that space on Twitch, aren't necessarily trying to stream to both places. I remember when YouTube Live first sort of came out, well, not YouTube Live, just the streaming part of YouTube when they were forcing on gaming, a lot of them were just bouncing between there trying to see which one was going to work better. They found that Twitch was just better where their audience was at, so they left Twitch there, and then they would just auto upload or send over the replay of the stream to YouTube, which I think they're probably not thrilled about, just getting replay videos of live content that doesn't necessarily get as many views or engagement as it does when it's initially a live piece of content. So,
but to that point, if they're upset about that not being the main host, then I don't think they've realized that YouTube's secondary major business is long tail. So every single video that makes it up there that can be monetized is another thing that you can keep someone on site. And YouTube, trying to force this, well, we're just like a Hulu or something like that. So we want to promote these big channels. You watch the video as immediately as you can for that big spike of traffic right at the beginning, and then we'll just keep big spiking is the wrong play. YouTube should be looking at how do we improve the ad metrics and the monetization on the wealth of content that can keep someone on the site, even if those individual videos only get hundreds or thousands of views. That's a lot of money they're leaving on the table by not encouraging those producers to keep producing content.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I find interesting with YouTube. I mean, especially how you have such a breadth of creators on the channel from different topics and genres. I mean, I started watching some more anime again, and I'm watching some of the anime channels, even the smaller ones, and you find these channels quite useful for whatever you're looking for. But the fact that YouTube doesn't take the time to highlight its base, almost like that core that makes YouTube great. The one thing that YouTube used to be good at is that you could get lost in YouTube easy. Yeah. Watching the stuff that you like, not like now where it's like you have to look for the stuff you like. Before, whether it was the algorithm or how things were done, is once you started watching something, whether it's like a comic channel like Emergency Awesome or stuff like that, like you start just going down the chain.
This content barely shows up for me anymore.
Yeah, and then you find like this little small. Yeah, me too. I it doesn't show up even though I'm subscribed. I hit the bell like you said, and all all this stuff. It doesn't show up for me anymore. Like I have to go.
Did anyone notice this week that even when you go to the channel itself, you still can't find the recent video, something that should be highlighted. You still can't find it. So you don't find it on your homepage when you log in. You click into recommended. It's all things that are just BS. I watched one Take Face video, and it's now I'm now a fan of America's Got Talent, apparently. And then I go to the actual channels for the people for the people I've actually subscribed to, and I have to dig through to find the more recent video. It's like, why am I doing all this?
Yeah, I mean, because they want you to stay on YouTube.
But you know what happened? You know what happened because of that?
What?
I basically shut down YouTube on my desktop, went to my Xbox, and launched Hulu because I'm like, I would just rather watch a show and the story.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They need to understand that, going back to that idea of where you would get YouTube should be a place where someone should feel naturally comfortable in getting lost in, like watching various content and finding adjacent content from either even, because what I've really enjoyed the most about YouTube is whenever I find smaller YouTubers that I watch their stuff and I'm like, yeah, man, this is actually pretty cool, and especially when it comes to like TV shows and stuff, that one guy who knows all his, like, for instance, like there's a guy I may be watching Expanse, and this guy is explaining all the spaceships in Expanse, how it's
you're like, DJ Gray 7 just mentioned Comics Explained. I was about to mention that as well. Like, yes.
Oh, Comics Explained.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell him, like, he's geeking out right now. He is geeking out as much as I would be geeking out right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's supposed to be. And hopefully they understand, somebody understands that in there and says, look, we need to get back to something close to that so that you can actually start. Because think about it, right? I Comics Explained, I've never watched this guy's channel until Sam mentioned. I watch Emergency Awesome, which means technically you should be feeding his own stuff in there as well. Anybody like that, but they don't. I will start getting other people who are not similar, but maybe have done maybe one or two comic things, and I'm like, come on, guys, like it doesn't.
This guy. I remember this guy. Comics Explained. He did the whole thing on. He did the whole Blue Marvel thing. Like from beginning to end.
He did the entire explanation of the Marvel universe. I sat down and I watched a 3+ hour video about him talking about what was it? Like the original what was it? It was right after Civil War. It was like the series right after Civil War. It was 3 hours and 29 minutes with all his videos combined together. And I sat down and watched the whole damn thing. I just watched a 3+ hour video. He's good.
He has some good numbers on here. I give him credit for that. He has some pretty good numbers on here.
But then if I go on my homepage right now, let's see, does he show up? I have watched a 3+ hour video of his. What shows up? Oh, hey, look there. It's the Late Show. Yeah, okay.
Well, the thing that shows up for me now, even if I haven't watched some of this stuff in a while, is I'll get randomly things like I'll click on other videos to watch other things. I barely get tech videos anymore, even though I've watched a few here and there. I barely get any tech videos anymore. And then I'll get like some dorkly videos constantly from like 6 years ago. For whatever the hell reason, dorkly stuff's popping up. And then a little bit of wrestling, some Street Fighter stuff, and then like a bunch of Power Ranger stuff. I'm like, I think I've only watched 1 or 2 videos of this recently, of things I was looking up.
It doesn't matter.
And wham!
Well, the other thing too, and what you guys should do, if you don't know already, is you guys should do this for, at least if you support and watch our channels, is when you click on the notification bell, make sure you click all notifications. I'm not saying it will not work or not. I'm just saying that is a better chance.
You want to find out when somebody's video is posted, go to Twitter.
I'm just saying it's a better chance for you to see if.
And now we're going to get restricted because you just told people to go off site. Oh my God.
No, I didn't tell them to go off site. I told them to get notified by getting on Twitter to come on site.
I see.
I'm bringing more people. I'm not telling them to go elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, let's our final topic. YouTube is launching a copyright tool, which they've been working on, and it looks like it's going to be launching in either next week or the next few weeks. This will roll out to channels with more than 100,000 subscribers. That is the very first thing. So those are the first people. YouTube verifies that. At first iteration of the video, YouTube will scan other videos uploaded to the service to see if there are any that are the same. So what do you guys think about the copyright tool?
It'll be broken. Who cares?
I mean, because we talked about it. It's like I think smaller creators should have access to these kinds of tools. So I'm glad to see that YouTube is trying to give something to people who produce on their channel, not just like mega corporations that can sort of afford to have their own algorithm stuff to find. But yeah, to Warren's joke there's going to be a big problem with things like collaborations, crossovers. How do you whitelist channels? All that stuff is a lot more difficult to figure out than just, well, we'll help you flag videos. Now go.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, when you start doing collaboration videos, or even, you do those chain collaboration videos where, say, maybe Juan's in town and we shoot everything here, but part one's in, on my channel, part two is on his, and there's still cross content. Will they go, well, nope, Juan's video is also Thunder East, so strike. That's the kind of stuff that hopefully with their 1-year beta testing that they figured that out, but we shall see. And on that note, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Anything else want to talk about?
I don't see anything about this tool. Where did you see the tool at? I don't see the link for it.
I dropped the link.
Not in the email.
Oh, not the email.
Actually,
no. It was later. Sorry.
To get going, we're gonna try and take Lex to her very first movie. So I've got to go put.
Ooh, what movie? Hotel Transylvania.
Some Hotel Transylvania. We figured that one wouldn't be too bad for taking a toddler to, and that she might actually, because she likes monsters. So we're gonna try and make that the play. But yeah, so I'm gonna take off. Just if you don't mind the terrible shameless plug. Probably Sunday or Monday, my smartphone camera manual modes guide is going to be coming out. 17-minute video talking about the different features in smartphone cameras that you can take a look at to try and improve your photography, and a bunch of, again, in that video, shameless plugs to go and buy my book. So I'll catch you next week, guys. I got to bounce. Thanks.
All right, man.
It was a good show. Take care.
Take it easy. Cool.
And there's nothing shameless about hard work.
Oh yeah. Adit says, what about Apple's
There's nothing
copyright?
shameful about hard work.
Hey, interesting enough, I typed in a YouTube copyright tool and our video came up. And
boy, you see what you did, Warren? You see what you did?
No. It's the title, because I titled the this Hangouts YouTube copyright tool. Adit says, what about Apple's copyright strike against Zone of Tech? I don't know it, but if you can give me just some background on that.
I've never heard about that either. I'm actually looking it up right now.
I got to fight a copyright thing from my own channel. Not a strike, but just like something stupid. But I'm not going to go through the process. I'm just going to email the company, because it's just way easier than going through some arbitrary.
Yes, I went through some copyright stuff also last week, where about 8 or 9 of my videos got hit, and they're all Warner Brothers video. Like, they had Warner Brothers stuff, like either the movies and stuff like that. And I was like, wait, I am whitelisted by them because they send me their Blu-rays, and I use them in my TV reviews, and stuff like that. So I basically responded, and the usual YouTube copyright response sequence, and then like 5 minutes later they took all of them off. I was like, what the heck, man? I mean, did somebody just go, no, Thunder E XXXXX, and they're like, oh, my bad, sorry. Like, it made no sense. But
yeah, but I'm not going through the YouTube's copyright tool because it's just too risky. I'm just going to email the company directly, because they have like an email that you can talk to them about it. So I'd rather just talk to the claimant and go through them, because YouTube's tool is just too much. Like, if you try to dispute, you can just be stricken down extremely hard for trying to stick up for yourself, because it's designed for you not to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Anything else news-wise? Excuse me, guys, or Are we good?
I think what's going on? Like,
Sorry, Sam, couldn't hear you.
No, I said there's really nothing. Sorry, there's really nothing else from my end. I think we covered most of the news this week. It wasn't really like a heavy tech news week.
No, it wasn't.
well, did you guys talk about the Surface Go yet?
Yeah, we talked about the Surface Go.
I don't think that was in the email for some reason.
Oh, no,
Yeah, no, we missed it, but somebody brought it up.
DT brought it up.
Yeah, and we talked about it. Also talked about OnePlus running ads without permission. Well, running review videos as ads without permission from influencers. Buying ad time, which you can for any video on YouTube. So yeah,
It's weird.
Yeah. Let's see. Ronald says Apple Associates filed a copyright strike on a video that has something to do with a TOS violation, nothing to do with the copyright. He made a video for gaming on OS X beta access to the public 4 to 6 years ago while it wasn't open to beta yet, and Apple copyright struck his channel. Yeah, but why would they even do that?
Because it's just automated algorithms.
Yeah, it's beta, but if you have access to I guess maybe they said you shouldn't just.
They might not be able to actually show anything in that.
I guess
in that release, which we get a ton of those too, where you're not allowed to report or say certain things on it until the final version is released. Which you probably knew. So.
No, but it's OS X beta, which you get all the time after Apple's events in June. They always release it. Yeah.
But what version of the beta? Because sometimes some of the betas are blocked from being shown until like a certain version. They might say, hey, you can show previews on this, or he was only allowed to show certain things, and within the release as well too.
Don't know. Don't have any idea.
Yeah. But I mean, we're not going to be able to get it until we get some more information.
He did this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not like he just did it. He did this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, I got knocked from a copyright from WWE for my X1 review that I did 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's like that. Doesn't matter what there's no limitation. There's a limit. Yeah, size of limitation, anything like that. It's just whenever the strike is. Some of the videos I mentioned, mine too, were like a couple of years ago, and some of them were recent, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, the algorithm just everywhere. It just goes blah blah blah, and then they want to blanket. That's why, like, anytime you deal with that stuff, I think you've done this more probably than I have. It's just better to try and contact the people that are doing the copyright strike first before going through YouTube's system.
Yeah, I mean, usually my stuff has mostly been movies. So I reached out. I remember, like, especially the Warner Brothers ones, I was just getting copyrights, and I reached out to them. They never responded back to me, and then next minute I just got whitelisted. I guess maybe they looked at the channel. They're like, "Oh, okay, this guy's just he's sharing our stuff anyway. It's not like he's putting up video."
The funny thing is, if you'd have went through YouTube's tool and then sent that to them, you probably would have got a bunch of strikes and your channel terminated.
Yeah,
exactly what would have happened. Because that's how their YouTube system works.
Getting a strike on YouTube is not fun. I got a strike for a video. I was doing a review of the Sony the 100. I forgot the name of the camera, the RX 100. The really small compact cameras, like $1,000.
Actually, wasn't that the HTC event that you got?
I went to the HTC event, and there was live music, Beyonce and where Jay-Z were playing. So I recorded it, and I included a clip in there. I did not get this video is blocked normal. I got a full strike. And what that strike means, number one strike means you lose streaming privileges. I couldn't stream, do a live show. You lose ad revenue as well. Not your old videos, but before you can put up a new video for ad, it has to go through another level of review. So the channel was just like hampered. I was like, okay, I need to get this sorted completely. And the only thing that saved me, because they said it would take 6 months, it was because I was doing a sponsored video for Google, and I reached out to the Google rep, and they were the only people who were able to get it off at that time. There was no other way. I mean, I have to wait 6 months.
Yeah, no, this is a very I would say a very arcane system they have.
It's just like with Max Sherry and his channel and what he's going through. They send him a response in Arabic.
Oh
his
yeah,
AdSense is down.
that one that's really bad. Yeah, he got an email from Google saying YouTube saying they're going to demonetize his whole channel because of copyright strikes. And then he said, "I
No,
never
no. It wasn't a copyright strike. It was they were saying that it was invalid click activity.
invalid click activity that he's paying for clicks on there." So he said, "I never got an email stating this." He reached out to AdSense. AdSense responded to him in Arabic. He had to translate it to English, and then when he translated to English, it said, "Yeah, we reviewed it, and we're still going to strike your channel." And he's like, "What did I do wrong? Tell me exactly."
Get the email in Arabic?
It's maybe it was their YouTube review center in Dubai or something that
Wow,
did it.
that's
I don't
amazing.
know. So yeah, it's strange because he's now stuck in this situation where he's like, okay, can you tell me exactly what I did, why, when did you send the email? There's no due process,
No, absolutely zero due process.
Yeah,
They have because they have no competition. That's what this boils down to. Until YouTube and AdSense gets punched in the face with some real competition, which hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping that some people get together and try to come up with something. And it's not out of the question that could be in the realm of possibility. We can finally see some competition between all that. We're going to see YouTube constantly kind of respond in this way, and AdSense respond in this way. But once they start seeing the money drain, or somebody else is going and getting ads and pulling them from someplace else, and they're pulling their Google stuff away, that's when you'll start to see, let's make a proper response to things. But
yeah, we'll see.
I guess I think Google does some great things, but I think they're long overdue for a correction. And I think when they get that correction, it's going to hurt them a bit. It won't take them down, but they're going to get a correction, and it's going to shell shock them a bit into acting normal or proper.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you very much.
I got to take off because I got some people buzzing here.
All right.
I'll catch you guys later.
And thank you everyone for joining in. Check out all the channels. Some Gadget Guy, you can check him out there on YouTube and also all his other social media outlets, as well as BW1.com, who just left on YouTube. And Sam is on Twitter as BlackIron_man. And myself, it is Boored at Work. So thank you, and always enjoy your entertainment.
Always.